Hi, I'm Nathan Thornberry. I'm the owner of PriorityLab, and I want to talk to you about mold testing and the reasons you might do it. And I'm largely responding to something that keeps coming up in the home inspection industry, particularly, and it has its origins in an EPA statement that is on their website that claims something to the extent of, hey, if you have mold and you see it, you got to take care of it. There's no reason to test that mold. Now, let me go through the reasons that you would test, because that statement is incredibly dangerous and out of context. There's a few reasons you might test for mold. Number one, if you're in a real estate transaction and you see something that looks like mold, your only solution is to test. Here's the problem. If a home inspector goes by and sees something that looks like mold, they might say something in the report like a mold-like substance or an organic growth of some sort is on the wall. And when they do that, the buyer's agent is armed with nothing other than a hypothetical, a theory. Maybe it's mold, maybe it's not. And that will come across to the listing agent in the course of the real estate transaction and primarily the home inspection response as a, hey, there's a little mold, take care of it, without them doing it properly, and they can spread the issue. So in the course of a real estate transaction, when you're negotiating, you want to be able to say, yes, there's mold, here it is, take care of it properly so that everything is safe for when the new buyer moves in. Let me give you another reason you might test for mold, and this is irregardless of whether you see a visible mold or something that appears to be mold or not. If you have a respiratory problem or someone in your family does, and you would like to check the indoor air quality because you're under the supervision of a physician and they want to make sure that you are breathing great air, well, that's a reason to do the indoor air quality test. Again, hopefully, if you don't have visible mold, but if you do, how do you know it's mold without testing? You don't, and that's why the test exists. And the indoor air quality test does a lot for, particularly for people that have a medical condition. Here's another reason you might test for mold. You just had remediation done, or there's some indication that there was a prior water penetration issue or prior remediation work done. This is what's known as a clearance test. It can tell you whether what was done was effective. And here's two more reasons for you. Let's say that you have that smell. You walk into a house and you smell that musty smell. You might not see a thing, but there might be mold growing behind the walls. When it does that and it reproduces itself, it does so and emits spores. Those spores get collected in our testing media, and we can tell and very regularly identify mold issues that you can't see. So with all that being said, mold testing is definitely something that you want to consider in the real estate transaction. It's definitely something that you want to do to confirm at an incredibly low expense what you see, rather than guessing. And of course, if you have a mold test done, if you have a full mold assessment done, if you have a mold evaluation done, if you have a property inspector come out and look for water penetration issues, that's a great place to start before you go into professional remediation, which again should be done if you have an issue. How do you know if you have an issue? Testing. That's simple. And, it's fairly irresponsible of the EPA to have this sentence out there. I don't like it. It's become something that gets repeated in some training, and that's just wrong. Outside the context of a real estate transaction, sure, if you're just a homeowner and you see something and, you need to clean it up, great. But if you're telling a third party, someone who currently owns the home, to fix an issue properly, you have to define that issue. And of course, if there was recent remediation, or you have health concerns, or you smell that musty smell, it's not a bad idea, and the expense to do a mold test is so insignificant that you should consider it. Thanks.